Hi everyone, Jennifer Jones here, and I work every day to empower women both around the world and here in the United States. Today though, I want to talk to you about taxes. Real quick, I would love to know, because on my last video I actually had someone comment from Australia, which was amazing. So I would love to know where you are tuning in from. If you're here in the States, maybe just put your state that you're in. And if you are international again, which was really exciting, name your country. But anyway, I wanted to talk about taxes. Everyone hates taxes. Everyone hates tax time. Everyone would like to try to figure out a way to give as little of your money to the government as possible. That's just completely normal. And I wonder how many of you have a home-based business of some kind. If you do, give me a 1 in the comments, and if you don't, give me a 2 in the comments. Well, actually, before I even get started or say anything else, I want to say that although I have an MBA and I used to work in corporate accounting, I am not a tax professional and nor am I a CPA. So whatever advice I'm about to give you or info I'm about to give you, please do your own research also, or contact a tax professional, okay? So that being said, I don't want to be getting any calls from you guys like doing something crazy and the IRS is on you. So I'm going to tell you what I know, but it's up to you to then contact your tax professional. So one of the really cool benefits about whether it's direct sales or some other home-based business is that, hi Jessica, is that you can actually reduce your tax liability with some of your expenses from your home-based business. And I hope if you do have a home-based business that you are already doing this. If not, I'm going to let you know about some things that you can potentially be taking on your taxes, taking credit for. Okay. So I don't know how many of you that have your businesses travel for whatever reason, whether you might have parties or demonstrations or whatever. If you do that as part of your business, give me a 3 in the comments, because if you do, you can claim your mileage that you spend both traveling to the parties or even running errands that are specifically work or business related. You can like going to the post office, for instance. If you're going there to mail things for your business, use that mileage. There are definite there's apps that you can use to track this, and I'll actually do a separate live in the future with some helpful apps that I have found for record keeping and everything else. But so mileage is a huge one. It's 54 cents a mile plus any tolls or parking related expenses that you pay. So keep that in mind and definitely track your mileage when you are out and about in doing things for work. Okay, what about giveaways or incentives? When you have a party, are you doing a prize, a drawing, or do you have incentives for your team? If you do, those are costs that can reduce your tax liability. Also, I just want to say that if you do find this content helpful, you can share it with your teams. It's all generic content, so not talking about any particular companies here. So if you do find it helpful, you can share it. I know a lot of people that are in this profession that would love to hear this information. So another one is eating out. Now you have to be careful with eating out because you can only claim 50% of your expense for eating out because they figure you're going to be eating anyway. But when you do eat out, and it's, whether you meet with a team member for lunch like I did the other day, you can take 50% of that cost, and what you need to do is keep the receipt and write the names of who attended on the back of it, and either the reason you met or what was discussed. So just keeping all of that legitimate, that's really important to make sure that you're not just expensing every single meal that you have. Okay, travel. So a lot of us travel for retreats, conventions, or training. if you do this, I can't remember what number I'm on now. I think five, I don't know. I'm going to say 5. If you travel for your home-based business to retreats, conventions, or training, drop a 5 in the comments, because your travel costs are you can take those off your tax liability. So you will hotel, airfare, again, any mileage that it took to get there. Any of that stuff you can expense out. Again, the meals there are also, but again at 50%, so don't forget that. Okay, here's a big one, a home office, okay? I don't know about you guys, I can't take advantage of this credit because I work from my dining room table. If you have a home-based business, where do you work from? Do you have your own office or not? I don't. I work from my dining room table, so this credit cannot be used for me. It's very particular. It has to be a dedicated space. You have to work like for your work. So like I said, working from your dining room table does not count. You have to have an office area that is just for your business. But if you do, you can claim $5 per square foot up to 300 square feet. So whatever that room is, oh, you have a corner in your bedroom, okay. So whatever that space is, figure out what the square footage is. So if it's like a 12 by 12 room, then what is that, 144 square feet. And so you'd multiply that by 5, and that could be your housing expense. So then it doesn't matter if you're renting or if it's mortgage interest. They've kind of simplified that a little bit, which is nice. Also, any upgrades that you do to the space, like painting or wiring or even office furniture, that can all be counted and expensed, and so you do not have to pay taxes on that. And we're talking income tax here, not sales taxes for things that you buy, by the way. Okay, utilities. So with this one, you do have to figure out the percentage. So for gas and electric in your home, you can figure out the percentage of your office space. So like in that previous example where it was 144 square feet, let's say your house was 2,000 square feet. So what you would do, obviously, you would divide 144 into 2,000 and figure out what the percentage is. I'm sorry, the exact opposite, 2,000 into 144 to figure out what the percentage is. And then apply that percentage to your utility bills, like your gas, electric. In terms of your internet, you actually can include your internet costs, but it needs to be a percentage of usage. So in my house, for instance, I have 2 kids that are streaming things quite a bit. So I probably wouldn't feel comfortable claiming more than like 10 to 20% of my internet cost for my business. So like just figure that out, and you can, again, deduct for those things, which is great. Office supplies, oh my gosh, paper, toner, mailing supplies, computer equipment, again prorated by how much you use it for business and how much you use it personal. Thanks, Mandy. That's a huge cost for businesses. I know so many of us are, I constantly am mailing stuff, so postage alone, that's one of my biggest personal expenses in my business. How many of you are constantly at the post office with your business? If you are always at the post office, give me a 6, I think maybe we're on. Give me a 6 in the comments if you're always at the post office with your business. I am always mailing out hostess packets, prizes from drawings that I do on Facebook parties. It's crazy. So let's see. What else did I want to remember to tell you before I get off here? Oh, okay, so if you buy your own health insurance and you are self-employed through a home-based business, and there's a caveat here, you cannot be able to be covered by your spouses or someone else in the household. So if there's no other way for you to have insurance and you purchase your own insurance and you have a home-based business, you can deduct the cost of the premiums. So that's really great. My last piece of advice is, I think that when you do have a home-based business, sometimes you're less likely to take advantage of saving for retirement. And that's not the best idea. I think when you have an employer, it's really easy to fill out the forms and sign up for the 401k. But it's really a good idea to look into investing for your retirement and your future. So look into the tax deferred retirement plans and IRAs and everything else. If you have any questions at all about this, I will try to help as much as I can. Feel free to contact me. Again, like I said, if there's people in your life that you know have home-based businesses, feel free to share this content if you think they would find it helpful. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a great day.